Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Show No Mercy Show with your host, Bodega Joe, episode 14. We got a great episode in store for you tonight. Let's listen to some Black Angels with Black Grease. I hope you guys are ready for a great show tonight. We have so much to talk about. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Show No Mercy Show with your host, Bodega Joe. Episode 14. I'm glad you're all here. We have a lot to talk about. We got Jon Jones retiring. Who would have thunk? We got some drama in the WNBA, as you do have all the time, especially with old Caitlin Clark up in there. We talked about Caitlin Clark a little bit on, I think, episode 9 with JoJo. But, of course, making highlights again and not always not always the banging highlights where she's slamming threes, even though she's always performing. But a skirmish happened, a little fight broke out in the Indiana Fever versus Connecticut Sun game. You guys got to check this out. Of course, we got war with Iran. Didn't see that one coming. That one was about as surprising as Jon Jones retiring, vacating the title. It's the title is going to Tom Aspinall. I'm not sure if you guys knew that or not. It's all over the news, but there is some speculation as why now, and we're going to go through that as well. What else do we got for you tonight? We got some UFC Fight Night Atlanta that happened a couple of weeks ago. The biggest flop in MMA history happened. So much more to talk about. Where do we even begin? I think we should really talk about what's going on in the WNBA. And just to give you a little background, it's all over YouTube. It's all over sports channels. If you don't watch, I'll kind of give you a brief. Caitlin Clark is a rookie. I think this is her second year in the WNBA. And people are arguing that she is just getting straight bullied out there. And I tend to disagree with this. I think Caitlin Clark is bullying broads out there for sure. And I think that they don't like that this player has come in, is smashing all kinds of records. I mean, I know she smashed records in college, but she's just performing at a level that nobody else is, drawing a lot of attention to the WNBA. The WNBA is doing very well, and if you deny that it's not a result of Caitlin Clark being in the WNBA, you are delusional. But I think she's bullying people on the court with her skill, and in turn is getting borderline assaulted. It's like a damn hardcore show every time I watch a game that Caitlin Clark is playing in. I mean, and I think a lot of this comes from the referees. I think as the game progresses, I don't think the referees, all women by the way, I don't think that the refs are on par. I think they have a really hard time determining what is a foul. It's either that the refs are too ignorant in their trade craft or their craft to understand what is actually a foul, even when they do call fouls. I don't think they're calling the right ones. They should be calling flagrants on some of these. They're not. They should be calling technicals. They're not. They don't know what to do. So the refs haven't caught up with the pace of the game. And that's the issue here, aside from the fact that some of these women don't look like they really know how to play defense, or maybe they just know they can get away with it because they've got away with it for so long. But I see some of these fouls, and they're absolutely absurd. Like, you don't know how to play the game. That's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of when I was a kid, crushing it in basketball, asking my brother, who is not very, not very athletic, to play defense against me. And he's scratching me all over the face. He doesn't really understand that that's a foul. That's how I see some of these professional WNBA players. It's like, hey, you can't scratch me in the face trying to get the ball. The ball's not even near my face right now. What are you doing? So there's that. Or like I said, they just know they can get away with it, so they're doing it. I don't know exactly, but you can kind of be the judge here. I think a lot of the blame falls on the referees. I think the refs need to be held more accountable. I think they need more training in their job because this is getting absolutely out of control. Somebody's going to get hurt. That's how bad some of these fouls are. I mean, you should see how many times Caitlin Clark gets just straight pushed in the back, charged in the back. You know, all of her vertebrae are going to snap out of her skin. It's insane. Hold on, I got to get a sip of it. It's crazy. I'm gonna show you. Let's look at some clips. I think the best one that breaks it down. And so this is going to be the Fever game versus the Sun game. I think the Connecticut is the Sun. It's singular. It's not plural like the Phoenix Suns. But this is what happened. You had this situation that was brewing for the entire game in the first half, and then it just explodes at the end, leading to a huge fight. The best video that I found for this with the breakdown is B-ball breakdown. Let's take a look at this, and almost instantly you start seeing a situation brewing. I mean, we're going to look at the timestamps here, but let's check this one out. This is the best one that I found so far.
So this was supposed to be a fun video about Caitlin Clark coming back from an injury, playing really well against the Liberty and the Sun.
And mind you, Caitlin Clark is coming back from an injury, which I could easily argue an injury that was probably sustained via these crazy fouls that the refs are allowing every game that she plays. And you're really going to see it here.
How she's not just a deep shooter. She's the rare type of player who doesn't just create shots for her teammates, she creates layups for them. But nope, we had 2 skirmishes in this game, so let's pull this whole thing apart and figure out how it all happened. We've got JC Sheldon chasing Clark down the court, and she...
Okay, so this is JC Sheldon guarding Caitlin Clark. Now, already look at the panic. Look at the panic where Sheldon is chasing Caitlin Clark. It's like she's chasing her. She's like chasing a murder suspect. I mean, look at this aggression.
We've got JC Sheldon chasing Clark down the court, and she's going to grab at the left shoulder and yank it a little.
Yanks her down
on the waist as Clark entangles herself. The left shoulder comes back later when she makes sure to show the welt she's got to the ref, who doesn't seem to care too much. Sheldon pressed up practically the whole game, trying to hand check to slow Clark down. She's forced to spin around on the behind the back dribble, which isn't a great look defensively.
I mean, she's just schooling these broads up and down the court, has them all twisted up and desperate, and the only thing they can do is swipe at her face.
And then continues to impede the progress with a little hand check that Clark swipes off. JC doesn't agree with the ref, and Caitlin looks like she's enjoying this little back and forth so far. A little later, more full court press, so Clark sizes her up with a glance, then stops in her tracks, maybe even a little lean back for a pretty big collision. But the refs let this go, and it's probably a mistake, sports fans. In the ensuing possession, JC is staying in front, moving her feet, and Caitlin gets that chicken wing and gives her a little jab to get free.
I mean, so at this point, she already kind of knows Sheldon's game. Sheldon is grabbing her by the arm, and so the refs aren't calling it. So naturally, Caitlin Clark has to fight back, essentially. Fighting is a strong word, but it's like, okay, well, I'm going to shove you off of me. I mean, right here, she gets charged in the back.
In her tracks.
I mean, look at this. No slowing down. No slowing down from Sheldon. Clark's back's completely turned. And she just
lean back for a
smashes into her. Where is the call?
But the refs let this go.
They let that go. That's insane. That's insane. Somebody needs to stop this right there. You could have vertebrae out of place. You can't just smash somebody from the back. It's the most coward move. At least, how do you not at least call that? That's obvious. Let's keep watching here.
Sports fans. In the ensuing possession, JC is staying in front, moving her feet, and Caitlin gets that chicken wing and gives her a little jab to get free. Clark is upset the refs are letting a lot go. So is Sheldon, who says that to Clark, and she replies, no. You can't do that. Yes, I can. I can do whatever the fuck I want to do. And don't ignore Marina Mabrey.
And yeah, you see Clark shove her, but I mean, she's getting in her face. I mean, she's been fouled already so many times. And the moment she fights back, she's getting yapped at by this lady. And I commend, I mean, I'm a huge Caitlin Clark fan now just because of how she stands up for herself in these scenarios. She's like, do whatever the fuck I want. You can't guard me.
The refs are letting a lot go. So is Sheldon, who says that to Clark, and she replies, no, you can't do that. Yes, I can. I can do whatever the fuck I want to do. And don't ignore Marina Mabrey getting involved.
And then pay attention to Marina Mabrey shoving her after the fact. I mean, Clark pushes Lacey Sheldon right here. But it's only to get her. You're in my personal space, dude.
Yes, I can. I can do whatever the fuck I want to do. And don't ignore
Boom.
Marina Mabrey getting
and then
involved
Mabrey hits
because
her.
She'll come back later. I don't blame Clark for getting pretty frustrated. Here's Rivers reaching in with her right arm while grabbing Clark's shoulder with her left hand, and the ref's again letting this go, while Clark lets the ref know about it in no uncertain terms. She was still talking to the ref out of the timeout, and this is telling. She clearly isn't buying the ref's reasoning and gives her a fake smile and an okay. The eyebrows are working. She's saying, all right, if that's how it's gonna be, let's get it on. So
yeah, so she's tired of this shit now. It's like, okay, you've let so many go. It's on now.
Her hands in the cookie jar on this steal. Obvious foul across the wrist to knock the ball loose, while the other hand is getting some contact in as well. But sick eye gaze to the rim to sell the shot and then slip the bounce pass by Mabrey for the layup. The half got more and more physical as they traded cheap shot offensive fouls, and even though the refs are getting these calls perfectly correct, they're slowly losing control of this game as the Fever began to increase their lead in the third. And now we've got to figure out how the initial...
I mean, it's like a damn football game. You see Cunningham, Sophie Cunningham, the new enforcer for the Fever. You see her just smash. This is a foul.
Even though the refs are getting these calls
right here up in the top. Boom, she just smashed.
Game as the Fever began to increase their lead in the third. And now we've got to figure out how the initial fisticuffs happened. You can see Sheldon give her a quick jab to the left shoulder. Clark glares at the ref, who is standing right there and doesn't call it. She gestures like WTF, and Sheldon says something back to her as if the clear foul wasn't a foul. Here's where Clark reached her breaking point as Charles goes up for a putback. The refs call a foul on this play. Caitlin is looking all around the court.
So now the refs call a foul, and Clark thinks it's on the other person, naturally, because Clark didn't touch her. Check this out.
They're calling it on somebody else. It cannot possibly be her. She goes to the coaching staff, begging them to challenge this call, and sure enough, when we look at both of these replays, you can see Clark...
There you go. This first one, check this out.
Staff begging them to challenge this call, and sure enough,
when you look at this replay, at no point did she make any contact with her. Check this out.
Be her. She goes to the coaching staff, begging them to challenge this call, and sure enough, when we look at
boom, no
these
contact
replays,
made.
You can see Clark doesn't get close to touching her anywhere.
No contact made. Foul called on Caitlin Clark, ladies and gentlemen. Clearly, the refs have an issue.
So, of course, Clark is pissed and is going to take matters into her own hands since she feels the refs aren't treating her fairly. Next play down, she's in attack mode. Sheldon is doing a good job staying in front and holding her legal guarding position. Here's some hip-to-hip contact that could be a blocking foul, but again, they let that go, and it directly leads to the eye gouge. The whistle blows, and all hell breaks loose pretty quickly. We got Sheldon stepping up to Clark, Mabrey chucks her to the floor, and Clark cannot believe...
It's absolute fucking chaos. I mean, look at this. I'm gonna try to play it in slow-mo here. We could probably do this.
We got Sheldon stepping
right here. So gets the eye gouge right here. And then there's a little contact there between Clark and Sheldon. And then that's when everybody kind of crowds around here.
Hell breaks loose.
And then Clark gets body checked by Marina Mabry.
And it directly leads to the eye gouge. The whistle blows and all hell breaks
Boom,
loose
body check.
quickly. We got Sheldon stepping up to...
So here's where they ended up calling something on Clark as well here. So she's just in pain from getting an eye gouge from this lady here. And then this Sheldon is in her face again. And so she's like one-eyed, like, get off of me, dude. Get off of me. And then here we go. Then this is where you're going to have Mabry smash attack. Here comes Mabry. And she just body checks her. Blow. Look at that, dude. Look at the whiplash, man. Body checks her to the ground.
Floor, and Clark cannot believe what is going on out here,
like,
and I
what the
don't
fuck?
blame her. First off, the refs needed to be aware this was a situation brewing, and while the trail backs up to get a better view of the play, she needs to be stepping in right away once she blows the whistle on the foul. You ignore signaling to the scorer's table until you're sure there's nothing doing with the players. Now, did Sheldon intentionally get her in the eye?
I mean, that's the gnarliest shot of this whole thing. That eye gouge right there was crazy.
Now, did Sheldon...
Right there. Look at that, dude. I mean, it's a terrible camera. But I mean, not really near the ball at all. We're not in fall yet, but I'll bet that they don't call this correct.
Actually get her in the eye? The dribble comes up a little high, so she could be reaching for it. Does she tilt her wrist so that her thumb gets right into that eye with a little more force? Maybe.
But I mean, look at this. It's like a cat pawing at you.
Does she tilt her wrist?
Look at this. This is what they're calling defense. I mean, these are professional players.
It's right into that.
Here we go. Look at this hand swipe to the face, dude. It's insane. Like, she's almost like jumping up, lunging forward, and scratching. I mean, that is not basketball. That's not professional basketball. That is jungle ball. That's what we used to call jungle ball back in the day. This is like when you play in New York and there's no rules and you have these cages around you. It's like they're playing NBA jams. That's an NBA jam move. Like some crazy shit.
Maybe, but they've also been going at it all game long. The intensity was there, and if it was a steal attempt, it was so off target that hitting her in the face intentionally has to be on the table, especially because there was no immediate apology or my bad or holding out her arms to let her know it wasn't intentional. It was the opposite. She steps up to Clark, who just wants some space to be in pain by herself, and then Charles swoops in there pointing a finger in Clark's face as if to say, "You brought this on yourself." And here comes Mabry with the absolute cheapest of body shots that sends Clark to the floor. Remember, Jokic hit Markieff Morris when he wasn't looking, and his career was never the same afterwards. Is it just me, or does this signify the kind of attitude towards Clark she's been getting ever since she got into the W? The only way we can be sure is if we're at the game up close to observe, which is why you need to download SeatGeek. It's the number one.
All right, then he's got some ad in here, which I'm not a huge fan of course. What's the next time code we have here? Hold on. Let's see.
A ticketing app for everything from concerts, sporting events, and the theater. I've used them countless times. Their rating system makes it easy to figure out where the best value is, and I get that when you've got someone this good, using a hard foul to get her out of rhythm can be effective, but this is not that, and the league has got to do something before someone gets seriously hurt. This was made worse because it took them over 5 minutes to decide what the penalties were, and the decisions were ridiculous.
5 minutes to figure out what's going on. Now, tell me that's not an issue. It's an obvious issue when you're not calling the fouls. But now you're seeing it. You're getting another chance to look at it, and you still don't know what to do. You're delaying the game 5 minutes. 5 minutes is a long time to not figure it out. It's embarrassing.
They decided to give Tina Charles and Caitlin Clark offsetting technical fouls. I cannot believe Clark would get anything other than free throws for the foul that she endured, but they're looking at her slight push after Sheldon stepped up.
And that's ridiculous. She pushed her. She was in her personal space. Sheldon didn't back away after the whistle was blown. She should have backed away. Instead, she keeps going towards Clark. She's been invading her space. Now, she's been invading her space playing defense, yes. Shitty defense, yes. But now the play is called, the game is paused, and you're still approaching her while she's hurt. Like, get the fuck off of me. And that's what she did here.
Whatever. Now they give JC a flagrant one, unnecessary contact to Clark's face. That's correct. But then they didn't give her anything for instigating the whole thing. This is ridiculous considering none of this happens without her invading Clark's space in a menacing manner. But it gets worse. Marina Mabrey only gets a technical foul for this blindsided cheap shot. Here she is smiling and dancing when she realizes they're not ejecting her from the game. This decision was so bad that the league was forced to upgrade this to a flagrant 2 the next day, which would have been an automatic ejection from the game, and she knew it and was willing to do it anyway. I'd like to tell you that cooler heads prevailed from this point on, and it did get into blowout territory soon after, which led to Clark putting an exclamation point on this game with this deep three right in JC's grill, and then has a question.
Like, that's insane right there. Right in her grill. I mean, look at this play. Right in her grill. Boom. Like, she's right there. And she just smashes that three.
Right in JC's grill. And then has a question for her. You like that? Kudos for not adding the B word to the end of it.
Yeah.
And I cannot believe JC would dare talk any more trash back to her, having just lost the matchup and the game in a blowout. You can't guard me. And this reaction looks like Caitlin isn't just telling the Sun she's unstoppable, but the entire league that she's not going anywhere, so bring it on. But it wasn't over by a long shot. Sophie Cunningham steps in to steal the pass, and we already know Mabrey isn't very coordinated and adds to this role with her right arm.
Now here's Sophie Cunningham stealing the pass. She's this lady right here.
Could have seriously injured Cunningham. So it wasn't surprising that Cunningham had something to say about all this when, in a poetic twist of fate, it ended up being Sheldon, of all players, heading down
Okay,
court.
so now this is the perpetrator. Sheldon is the one that sliced Caitlin Clark's face, and now she has the ball, and she's going up against the enforcer, Sophie Cunningham, which has she's blown up now because of this situation that you're going to see right here.
After a steal, she sizes her up and just takes the hard foul around the shoulder.
And smashes her to the ground with a clinch. Now, I've heard that Sophie Cunningham has obviously played football. They're going to talk about that. She played football in high school. And I heard she's like a black belt in Taekwondo or some judo. So she knows the clinch. And she shined in this moment right here because she has full control of Sheldon with a clinch right here.
We can see Sheldon wants to impart some contact of her own.
But here we go. Like, this was even Sheldon's fault. Look at this insane step in that she does on Sophie Cunningham. I mean, it's totally malicious. She's going straight forward pretty much right here. And then you see this leg right here just jut like a huge step directly into Sophie Cunningham.
And that's why
boom, like right there. Come on. Like, get off of me.
Up closer to Sheldon's neck area, but she doesn't fling her to the ground, which is where injuries can happen. And now all hell breaks loose under the basket near the fans, which is never a good thing. Remember, had the refs penalized Sheldon appropriately, this lightning rod wouldn't have been in the game because there would have been an ejection. If you're surprised that Cunningham was so willing to mix it up like this, don't be. She played football in high school, so she's no stranger to this sort of thing, and I applaud her for making a statement on behalf of her teammate. But in all honesty, she shouldn't have had to. The rest of the league should simply play the game the right way and not get involved.
I mean, absolutely, man. Absolutely. So that's the drama. But Sophie Cunningham is in there, and I think after seeing this, she might get challenged more by the other women in the WNBA. But the refs gotta step it up here. And in conclusion, I mean, women's basketball has got so much more exciting over the last couple of years. But please teach these Amazonian women how to play correctly. It's straight up embarrassing, and get these refs on board and get them some more training on these fouls. Simple. I mean, somebody is really gonna get hurt, and I don't know. I mean, man, it just seems like it seems like it's coming from a place of pure jealousy and catty. It's giving catty. Or take away all the rules and let them play jungle ball, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're gonna listen to some more music here, and I'm gonna go ahead and play a song. We're gonna take a small break before we get into the Jon Jones saga. We're gonna play some Kanye West, ladies and gentlemen. And this song is called Happy. You guys, I hope you enjoy it.
Chocolate inside the bush, yeah. Double C, go serve, yeah. These gold diggers I deserve, yeah. A gang about purses, yeah. I did it off of one verse, yeah. I'm sipping syrup beside the verb, yeah. I'm leaving my mark on the earth, taking my drugs and doses. My bitch by the pack, came from the mud. First put the hood on the jet, first put the hood on Miley, then we put the hood on X. What a guy say, I know how to secure my band. Trapping in Atlanta, bought 3, 4, 5 phantoms. Drug dealers, murders, and the scammers. Crocodile break for your member. 40-something racks on sandals. Burberry mink on camera. Poto walk down in the phantom. Walking down on camera. Ski mask cover my face up. Skull while it chain Santana. Sure real what you made of. Hit him in the top right now. Finger on walk right now. Clutching my Glock right now. Morning on my sock right now. Give me my right now. Took finesse on the road out of town. Drank a paint up and sprung out a pound. Selling dope at grandma's house. Bust drugs at grandma's house. Cut 1,600 out an ounce. Bought a foreign, could barely pronounce. One chain and the cost by the house. Hit a model, give a fire and bounce. Go tomato on the guts of Ferrari. Hit this new lick, I'm snatching Bugatti. Sipping all out the drink is inside it. Get paid just to talk, I pop it. Once you finish loading up, then you cocky. If these bitches out of friends got me cocky. Rappers take off with the lingo and chop it. Make me crush up the scene with no problem. 200 I'm trying to Uber. Next thing you know, I bought Uber. Hopped at the Uber. Next thing you know, I bought Uber. Don't come in with rumors. Don't add me nothing, you can Google. Coming in like damn, where you get from? Coming in like damn, where you get from? Had just hopped up at the Uber. Next week, I'm I probably buy Uber. Don't wanna come at me, so I'm with a rumor. Matter of fact, add me nothing, you can Google. Running up $1 million, being frugal. Mama house eating noodles, and we all wanna be happy. Do I look happy? Do I look happy to you? Do I look happy to you? I look happy to you. Do I look happy to you? I look happy to you. I done on thump on the sun with a tenant. Ain't on song and song I invented. Throw a hat lock on song, get rented. I on thump on song when he in it. Wanna go to sun when I'm in it. Tenant, squint it, minute, don't know, in a minute. Phone him, then it, finish. I'ma let you finish. Pop on top with a minute. I got one song, count too many. Too
Ladies and gentlemen, Kanye and Future with Happy. I can only find that song on YouTube, by the way. Go check it out. Kanye always doing his thing. He's always got bangers out there. You guys know how I feel about that. All right. Let's talk a little bit about the UFC fight night that happened in Atlanta, Georgia. Not much happened. I was excited for some of the fights. Most of them really turned out to be nothing. And that's how it goes sometimes, especially on a fight night. I won't say that. There was a fight night that I watched not too long ago. I can't remember which one, but it was pretty exciting. This one, not so much there. I wasn't really into it for some reason. But what I did see was the biggest flop in MMA history. It's called the Bellato flop scandal. And we're going to talk about this. I'm going to show you some of the video, and you guys can make a decision for yourself. I think we need to just start with the video and then make an educated opinion about what happened here. We got a lot of people saying Bellato flopped. And I believe he was fighting Paul Craig. And I mean, the fight could have went either way. These guys were really throwing down in there. I actually was enjoying this fight. And then this bizarre scenario happens with an illegal upkick on a downed opponent. The downed opponent would have been Bellato. And that's where this all kind of comes from. An illegal upkick on a downed opponent. And a knockout, essentially. But we'll see. Let's take a look at this. So they got some ground and pound going on right now.
Kick. Bellato looks like he's out, but I think he was down. Whoa. Bellato was out.
That was crazy.
Bellato was out because then he woke up and he scrambled with urgency back to the fence.
I've never seen anything like that. He's still out.
He still doesn't know as Kevin McDonald tries to explain this to him. Wow, this is crazy.
Let me go. No. We're on timeout. I tap out, all right?
Yeah,
he's out.
I mean, there's no way this fight can continue, right?
No way.
The options at the referee's discretion, which would be Kevin McDonald, is a DQ, or if he deems it accidental, a no contest. Let's find out what was chosen. And for that, Joe Martinez. Go ahead, Joe.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes officially 4 minutes, 59 seconds, round number 1. Due to an accidental foul and recommendation of our octagon physician, this bout has been ruled a no contest.
Wow.
Okay.
So there you go. An accidental foul. According to Kevin McDonald, he was...
Now we're going to see a slow-mo of it. I know we kind of missed the real-time footage of it, but you kind of got the gist. You don't really know what everybody... It happened so fast that I don't think anybody really processed what happened. Now me, I processed what happened almost instantly. I saw exactly what happened, and it was strange. And we're going to look at this slow-mo play right
had
now.
the ability to look at the replays.
Okay, so it's a ground and pound situation.
We will do now. Dom, your
Look,
thoughts.
his knees are down.
And then here is the illegal upkick on a downed opponent. You see his knee. There's one knee that's still down over here. And the upkick goes.
And that's an ill.
And there we go. And right here, you see Bellato looking at the ref, trying to get the ref to acknowledge that it was an illegal upkick.
So I don't know.
Then he flops to the ground.
It's a no contest.
And he is laid out completely.
We will do now. Dom, your
Look,
thoughts.
his knees are down, and that's an illegal upkick. So I don't know how it's a no contest personally, but it is what it is. Look, his knees are down. One's up, one's down.
But look what's weird about this is he says
See, that is the scenario that we're all
Knees are
wondering.
down.
And
Look,
here's the
one's
thing.
down.
Watch this right here. I mean, this isn't a really great frame for this, but where does it look like, if you were to take an educated guess, that this foot landed? I mean, it landed on his collarbone. And I said it is a bad frame for this. But that leg is on the other side of his chin.
What's weird about this?
And he is completely coherent right here. Clearly.
He reacts like,
yeah, that was
what just
crazy
happened?
how he looked at him and
out.
then laid out. That was interesting too. That's why I was so shocked to see it, because he looks at the ref like, look, oh, I'm out.
And then he's out, and then watch this.
And oh, no. Because he knows that it looks like bullshit.
That's why
he doesn't know the fight is over, doesn't know what happened. So here he is with...
And then you got these theatrics where he's fighting the ref. And usually when you start fighting the ref, I mean, you're knocked out cold. And I know that it looks like he was knocked out cold, but it's almost like it grazed him. He made eye contact. He wanted the ref to acknowledge that it was illegal. And then we have all this extra stuff because that's how people act when they're knocked out. But I think he overdoes it. Usually when people fight the ref, it's real quick and then they come to. But the ref is telling him over and over to stop.
McDonald.
No, that was weird. I've just never seen anything like that.
Yeah, and that's why they have to call it, right? Because if this happens in the midst of the action.
So that's the scenario with Bellato. Now, I do have an opinion about this. I do not think that Bellato flopped. The people that are saying he flopped, you've never been knocked out before. Trust me. You don't know what it's like out there. You've never been knocked out. All these fat MMA journalists saying he flopped. You've never even been in a fight before. You don't know what it's like to get knocked out and then look at the ref and acknowledge him coherently about an illegal up kick on a downed opponent. And then after you process all this, you have a delayed reaction to the knockout. It's happened millions of times. This is actually very typical when you take this type of shoulder collarbone knockout. It's a delayed reaction, okay? Get it straight. You guys look like rookies out here calling this a flop. Then you have Aljamain Sterling weighing in on the situation, and he could be known as... Oh, another point I wanted to make is if he did flop, he was trying to get the W. He wanted a W in that bracket. And instead it was a no contest because the kick was accidental. And then Aljamain Sterling, the king of flops. Now, I want you guys to look at this. This was the Aljamain Jan fight here.
Oh, another one. That one wrapped around, Joe.
Round it.
Look at him just pressing on the head here, though.
Boom. Takes a nasty knee to the head. Illegal. Illegal, illegal. Now, people call this one a flop. And I wouldn't necessarily agree with them. I think that Aljamain could have continued. I think it was illegal. I think it hurt, but it couldn't have hurt any more than all the other shots that you take. And I think Aljo sold this. And granted, Aljamain did have to get surgery on his upper vertebrae after this. I think Aljo's always had those issues in his neck. And this one sent it. But I think he could have continued fighting in this scenario.
His knee was down. His knee was all the way down.
Illegal knee. He told him before that.
I mean, he did whip that knee in there, dude. Check this out. Boom.
His
I mean,
knee
it crushed his neck.
All the way down.
Illegal knee. He told him before that. He said down. He said downed opponent.
His hands were down. His knee was all the way down.
You can't get more illegal than that.
Yeah, that was what they considered the Aljo flop. Okay. And then you have him receiving the belt because they decided to give Aljo the belt in the division, the bantamweight division. This is Aljamain Sterling receiving the belt.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Mark Smith has called a stop to this contest at 4 minutes.
Look at the shame on Aljo's face. He doesn't want the belt this way, he says.
Foul by Piel Durian, the winner by disqualification and new UFC.
Look at this face that Aljo has. He really sells it here too. I don't want the belt. No, I'm so what? Oh man, no, not like this, man.
Aljamain Funkmaster Sterling.
Not like this.
Aljamain, I know this is not how you wanted to win the world title. Did you?
So he gets the belt. It's not the way he wanted the belt. All right. I also want to show you, if it's not the way you wanted the belt, you felt ashamed of the way you got the belt, and he was hurt. You know, he was hurt so bad. Now look at this. Oh, here we go. Hold on. I gotta get out. I want to show you guys a picture here. Check this picture out. This was taken the night that he got the night that he got back to wherever he was staying. Now, this looks totally different from a guy that received that was awarded the UFC bantamweight title. I mean, he does not look hurt or ashamed at this point, and I always saw this picture and was like, "What are you doing?" He posted this the night of the fight. He looks pretty proud right there. That's a weird one. All right. So there's been a couple of flops in the UFC. We can all agree. Don't think Bellato flopped. I think Aljo flopped. Okay. I'm not just saying that. All right. So the next big thing in the UFC, you got Jon Jones finally retiring, as we could have guessed. But it kind of came awkwardly. It was awkward the way that they announced Jon Jones's retirement. Dana White was at a press conference, obviously gets asked the same questions every 2 seconds about Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall. And this time the tune was a little bit different. This whole time Dana's been on this tirade of saying that this fight between Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall is happening. Now you have the whole MMA community saying it's not going to happen. Strip Jon Jones of the title. There was a petition going around to strip Jon Jones of this title. 150,000 signatures. And it doesn't mean anything to Jon Jones. Jon Jones, that's his belt, and he's going to come back and get it regardless of who has it at the time. If you want to strip Jon Jones gives a fuck. He's always said he had no interest in fighting Tom Aspinall. Dana White has been on this thing where he said the deal has already been done. It was already done. They got it to work. And now all of a sudden, and then Jon Jones kind of saying the opposite, being very cryptic in his messages. I couldn't figure out if he was just trying to build up a fight by saying, no, I'm not fighting. I have no interest. And Dana White's on this other campaign of saying he is. So this just happened. I mean, but right before they announced this retirement, I want to show you this Nelk interview that was conducted. Let me see here. When did they release? When did they release this? Nelk released this video about, I'm trying to see here, 3 days ago. So maybe it was filmed a week before or something. So homeboy Kyle from Nelk interviews Jon Jones in Miami and prefaces the entire interview that Jon Jones was supposed to do this interview 5 hours before it took place. Jon Jones decided that he didn't want to do the interview until after the dirty boxing match that they were attending in Miami. And Kyle prefaces this with the fact that Jon Jones forcefully fed him 7 tequila shots before this interview took place, and that he could be pretty drunk during this interview. I didn't really see that he was wasted or anything. I'm assuming those guys drink all the time and they're pretty used to it. But yeah, so this is the warning that they send us in the beginning.
If you guys have not tried out the Prime,
and of course, 1,500 ads.
Pick, the more you're firing on sports, all right? And
I mean, this video is it's a
it's like
a 25-minute video, and 95% of it,
download the Prize Picks app.
it's all ads. And then here's the warning that they put on it. Warning: the pod was supposed to be recorded 5 hours. Here we go.
Earlier, but Jon Jones wanted to do it after the dirty boxing event, and during the event, he probably fed me at least 6 tequila shots. So just a little warning, boys. I got absolutely hammered inside of there, and I might be a little drunk.
Nice to meet you guys as well.
All right, so they preface it with being wasted. And this whole time I've been under the impression that Jon Jones is walking the straight and narrow path. He's focusing on family, God, fighting, training. All right? That's what he's been standing on. And so this whole time I'm like, oh, Jon Jones is past his whole phase of drinking and driving and doing drugs. And then I see this and I'm like, wait, he fed you like all these tequila shots? That's strange. All right. And so here we are. And I like I said, that kind of threw me off because I've been under the impression that he's been walking the straight and narrow this whole time. So our next time code here is them sitting down and drinking more. Happy Dad. All right, so check out this. Check this out.
This one, the grape one.
The grape one.
This is where Kyle offers a black man a grape soda.
He came up with that flavor.
Is this what's going on?
Do you love being in Miami?
I absolutely love Miami. Do you love Miami?
I love Miami. I moved here about 1.5 years ago. So
where are you from originally?
I'm from Toronto, Canada.
Nice.
But I lived in Cali for like 6 years, and then during COVID we moved out here.
Oh, Canada.
Oh, Canada. Did you never fought in Canada, right?
I did. I fought against Alexander Gustafsson.
In what city? Toronto or Montreal?
Oh man, I think it was Montreal.
Montreal?
Yeah, years ago.
How was it out there? Was it electric?
Awesome, dude. I love the Canadians. You guys are always like, sorry?
Sorry?
Yeah.
We're polite, right?
Yeah, you guys are very polite.
Bro, to me it's just crazy because, like, I've been watching UFC for, like, a long-ass time, too, since, like, the Spike TV days, and, like, how
so in
have
between
you
this,
been in
you
this
have, like, 500 ads, okay? They're just kind of talking small talk. And then here's Jon Jones commenting on the grape soda that Kyle has given him, the grape Happy Dad soda beer.
I guess it's tonight, like in a few hours. Usman Buckley.
Great beer, huh?
It's grape seltzer. You like it?
I do.
It's only like...
That is the face of somebody that doesn't like it. I mean, he's kind of confused. Like, you didn't just offer me, is it because I'm black? You offered me a grape Happy Dad? You think I just like this? And then but he also wants to help Kyle out. He's not going to say it's disgusting.
Huh?
It's grape seltzer. You like it?
I do.
It's only like 100 calories.
That's like when somebody's lying to me. All right. John is so drunk that he doesn't care. Anything tastes good. You know when you're so wasted that nothing really matters and everything's delicious? All right. Here's the first heavy-hitting question. We have about 400 more ads. And then at 7:50, we start looking at Francis Ngannou coming back and if Jon Jones would be interested in that.
You gotta see him give it a good hoorah.
I saw, so Ngannou is cornering him, and he's wearing like UFC shit, like UFC. Obviously, like, do you think there's any like negotiations going on there or anything?
So I think Dana gets things done.
Kyle thinks that just because Ngannou is in the corner of Usman and wearing UFC gear, that this is a big indication that Ngannou is coming back to the UFC. And everybody that's a corner man or in somebody's corner is usually decked out in the UFC fight gear as well. They're wearing like the warm-ups. It's a standard. It's not an indication that all of a sudden Ngannou is coming back. It's because they give everybody fight gear when they're in the corner of their friends or their partners. If you're in the corner, you get the fight gear so everybody can match. It's just the way that the UFC does things. It's not some conspiracy. So Kyle doesn't really know. For somebody that's been watching the UFC for so long and to take this as some weird indication that Ngannou must be coming back because he heard some rumors, which, by the way, I heard have been squashed. Ngannou never said he was coming back. He's like tweeted about it. Like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? I don't even know where that rumor started. People have taken things out of context.
You know, and I think business speaks before emotions. And Francis presented himself in a humble way, and I think that he could very easily be back in the UFC.
So you think there's a chance that he ever comes back to the UFC?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You know, Dana White's he's one of the best sports minds in recent history for a reason.
And he sounds drunk. Jones just sounds drunk at this point already.
I'm sure Dana will be interested.
But I feel like also like I'm good friends with Dana too. Like he's done so much for me and like our whole crew that I can't.
The way that I do.
The reason why he feels like he's so close to Dana is because Dana's always bailing out the Nelk boys at the casino. I've heard of Dana paying their tabs hundreds of thousands of dollars that Steve will do it racks up in credit at the casino and then disappears because Steve will do it as a fucking drunk. And then, so here's where we're going to talk about Jon Jones just looking like he's wasted. I mean,
yeah, that pissed him off though.
What happened though? Like you just refused?
Maybe it was Dan Henderson I was supposed to fight, and he canceled the fight. He got injured. Supposed to fight Chael Sonnen instead. And Dan Henderson and Chael were really good friends, and I just assumed that they were in cahoots. I didn't want to put myself in any type of disadvantage by taking a fight last minute. Despite how above people perceive that I was, I just humility and respecting the process tells you to put in the time, which was great. It was all divine.
Drunk banter, I call this. And it's one thing to go out, right? You're in Miami, you have a couple of drinks, and you toe the line, as a recovering alcoholic or addict or whatever you were doing before. But he seems drunk, man. I mean, he's holding it together really well, but I can tell when somebody's drunk, and Jon Jones is definitely drunk.
Ended up getting the coach against Chael Sonnen at the Ultimate Fighter and then fighting him, and it was fucking amazing.
That's crazy.
Absolutely amazing. I like talking about Chael Winston just because he's such a bitch.
All right, guys, I want to give a quick
shout out. And of
out.
course, can't talk for more than 2 minutes without seeing a fucking ad. So we're going to skip to the next time code here at 18 minutes. And so this time code is John talking about Tom Aspinall. Kyle starts prying about Aspinall. John's not interested. But then he says something interesting. if I whoop Tom Aspinall's ass, and he stops, and then it's almost like he wants to change it because, you know, he's like a championship guy, and he wants to change what he said because he doesn't like the terminology, if I whoop Tom Aspinall's ass, because it sounds like he's saying that there's a chance that Tom Aspinall could beat him. So he's almost thinking about saying when, but he doesn't want to give any indication that he's going to fight Tom Aspinall. Let's check it out. And here we go.
Enjoying the fruits of my labor, all the hard work I put in. He's just not, he's not in a position. He's not in a position to like excite me. It's just the truth. Because if I whoop his ass, it's gonna be the next guy. There's gonna be a whole new fan base of somebody who everybody believes in. I've done this my whole adult life. I remember Rampage fans years ago.
And I totally understand where John's coming from here too. I see it from his point of view. You guys always have the next guy for him that's going to do it. Dominique Reyes got close. Alexander Gustafsson got close. But at the end, they couldn't do it. They gave up. In the championship rounds, they gave up. And so you guys always have these people that are the next guys. And John's he's not into it. And so I get that. But you see how he goes, if I whoop his ass, and then he so badly wants to say when, but he doesn't want to give any indication that he could possibly be fighting Tom Aspinall. And I believe at the end of the day, regardless on what happened after this in the retirement, I believe that I've always believed that Jon Jones is going to fight Tom Aspinall at some point, but it's going to be after he vacates the title. He's not ready to fight right now. He's not interested in it. And he's the type of guy that can go get it whenever he wants. He's going to vacate that title, and he's going to come back later, and he's going to get the title back or not. So, yeah, watch this again.
Excite me. It's just the truth. Because if I whoop his ass,
that's where he wants to say when I whoop his ass, right? That's where he wants to say when. He almost says it right there. It's like the W's getting started. And
because if I whoop his ass,
and then, well, but he can't say it.
It's gonna be the next guy. There's gonna be a whole new fan base of somebody who
So that's interesting to me. All right. And then here at 1902,
I'm not fighting. My job is to chill. And that's what I'm doing.
I know, you're a smart guy. Do you think
he's talking about being a company man, and his job right now as a company man is to chill, meaning something's going on and he's been told to stand by. All right. And so that's what he's doing. He's enjoying his time in Thailand. He's chilling in Miami, having shots all over the place.
After the UFC, let's say you do fight again, would you ever do a fight in like dirty boxing or something?
Yeah, I think I will fight again in the future. I think I will fight again. And where the future of combat sports is going, it's going to be amazing when I pop back up. But right now, I'm just focused on so many other things like family and like building an athlete. What more could you ever ask for?
What would it take to?
Here's the big question: what is it going to take for you to fight Tom Aspinall?
Tom Aspinall from the UFC. Like, what does the UFC got to do?
Set something real wild on off the cuff. I'll see you guys later.
That's it.
And then Jon Jones walks out of the interview, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very bizarre. A lot of back and forth, okay? And then you have the news that happened just about 2 days ago, maybe even yesterday, where Jon Jones, or not even Jon Jones, Dana White's at a press conference and announces that Jon Jones is retired, that he called them the night prior, and that now he is officially retired, which I think was a weird way to break the news to everybody. We saw it coming, especially in an interview like this. We saw it coming. I had already come to the conclusion that Jon will fight Tom, but it's not going to be till after he vacates the title. So we have Dana White here announcing Jon Jones' retirement. Check this out.
Hello, Dana.
Hi.
I'd like to ask you a question about, like, on the heavyweight front, you recently set a deadline for Jon Jones to face Tom Aspinall or risk losing the title. And with that situation evolving, what criteria are you using to decide? Uphold legacy by waiting for Jones or prioritize division activity by clearing the belt?
You said the timeline for Jones, 2 weeks to decide what to do with the title, whether it takes the fight or you're going to strip him. What do you think is more important, to keep the belt there so he can uphold his legacy, or we move the heavyweight division, take the title away from him?
Jon Jones called us last night and retired. Jon Jones is officially retired. Tom Aspinall is the heavyweight champion of the UFC.
Crowd is absolutely shocked at the news. I don't think they should be shocked. So that's how Dana White broke the news. Okay. Jon Jones officially retiring. But you would think that it would be Jon Jones that announces that, you know, even if it's via Twitter. But that's the first time anybody's heard that Jon Jones is officially retired, was in this capacity, a press conference. Okay, and then you have this interview with Dana White.
You mentioned that.
And so the plot thickens with this interview. This is after the press conference. And now you have another reporter asking questions about this retirement. And then he says something about, hold on, let me fix this real quick. He says something about a situation that happened in Albuquerque and if this has anything to do with the retirement.
Jon, last night, there's a bit of news that came out from that post-fight press conference. Jon Jones has officially retired. Tom Aspinall is the champion. This has been a long story. It seems to have a lot of back and forth. Can you tell us the timeline of Jon accepted the fight, went to Thailand, came back, didn't want the fight? What happened?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that Thailand was the end of it. You know, we were talking about it before that. But yeah, the fight was done. We had the fight done a long time ago. So why he decided not to fight, you guys will have to ask him that.
Is it accurate that there's a lot of reports about figures he was offered? Is it fair to say he was offered a lot of money to take this fight?
Yeah. Listen, he was offered what he deserves for that fight. Yeah.
I'll just come out and ask you. Do you think he's ducking Tom Aspinall?
No. Jon Jones, I said it a million times, I'll say it again. He's never ducked anybody other than that one goofy time with the Chael Sonnen thing. He's never ducked anybody. And, you know, I think the reality is whatever changed his mind with this fight, I don't know, you'd have to ask him that. But, you know, he's 38 years old, and I don't know.
Do you think if it was someone like Alex Pereira, he would fight them? And it's maybe Tom that he specifically doesn't fancy the matchup, doesn't fancy the age difference?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to these questions. Only he does. You know, we had the fight done. Listen, our job is to make the biggest fights we can make and the fights that the fans want to see, and that's what we try to do. But the minute somebody starts talking about retirement, you know my philosophy on that, you should do it.
Did you know about the stuff that came out of Albuquerque last night?
I saw it today. When I saw it today, I said, oh, everybody's going to think this is why he retired. Maybe that is why he retired. Who the hell knows, man? But, yeah, I don't know. These are all questions you got to ask him. We had the fight done. You know, you saw me talking about it very confidently that this fight was going to happen, and then he changed his mind.
Two more quick ones from me. So for Tom Aspinall tonight, he's the heavyweight champion of the world. Does that defense he did against Curtis Blades count to his official defenses? Because then he would only have 2 more to equal Stipe, or does he have to start fresh now?
You guys are throwing shit at me that I haven't even thought about. I have no idea, but yeah, I don't know.
It seems like the most obvious choice would be Cyril Gane for Tom, but is there a chance here maybe that, like, to start the new without Jon Jones era, we should maybe do a big super fight and maybe you could convince Alex Pereira to move up and do an Aspinall fight, something like that? Or what are you thinking about the Tom fight?
Well, once I get through today, tomorrow starts International Fight Week. I'll be back in Vegas tonight, and Tom will be there all next week, so we'll sit down with him, see what he's thinking, what he wants to do. He's been great through this whole thing and literally said, I'll fight whoever you guys tell me to fight. I'm ready to go. So looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the Tom Aspinall era.
You said you had the date or the fight or was agreed to. Did you have a date and a location for that? Because I think a lot of people assumed it would be at MSG again.
That it would be what?
At Madison Square Garden, like heavyweight.
Yeah. That's what we were shooting for. We were shooting for New York, yeah.
So would it make sense to keep Tom on that day, or are you going to try to, like, you've waited long enough, let's get you in there?
Well, yeah. I mean, we got to figure out the rest of the year. Aspinall's going to land somewhere, yeah.
And then we're obviously here, you're wearing the shirt for Canelo Crawford. What's that?
All right. I don't know where this time code is. I think I messed up the time code on this, but one of the reporters, when talking about Jon Jones, he asked if the retirement had anything to do with the situation in Albuquerque. I had no idea about a situation in Albuquerque, okay? Maybe everybody else did. I'm not sure. I got the news late, but I referenced this story of this Albuquerque situation. And this is what pops up in the Albuquerque Journal. And UFC champ Jon Jones retires, hit with another criminal charge in Albuquerque. This was just written in June 21st, just a couple of days ago. Okay? And I'm going to give you a brief synopsis of what happened here. There was a car accident that the police responded to in Albuquerque and found a woman in the front passenger seat of the vehicle with no driver, with her pants off. No clothes from the waist down, apparently. And Jon Jones was the alleged driver that fled from the scene. This wasn't his wife. So Jon Jones has a pending criminal situation going on in Albuquerque. Very bizarre situation. Let me read this here. This is a tweet from Jon Jones. Today, I'm officially announcing my retirement. This is June 21st. This decision comes after a lot of reflection, and I want to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude for the journey I've experienced over the years. Okay. Let's look into this. Here we go. Woman found half naked in a car. Jones was the driver. That's what the woman says. Fled the scene on foot. She calls Jones, and a police service aide spoke to the man on the other end of the call believed to be Jones. He appeared to be heavily intoxicated and made statements implying his capacity to employ lethal force through third parties. Jones thinks he's like Donald Trump over here. And then they requested backup after what was believed to be a threat. And when a police officer then talked to Jones, Jones said similar allusions to violence. So he was alluding to more violence and acting weird and drunk. So Jon Jones, at the end of the day, he has not changed. This is the scenario that's forcing him into a brief retirement or a complete retirement. He's got another criminal case on the docket here. Now, this woman was allegedly at Jones' house on mushrooms. She was all on mushrooms. They're saying she took mushrooms. So the defense could use that as a way to get Jones out of the situation. They could say, well, you're hallucinating, unless they find proof that he was actually there, unless she recants her statement. I don't know. Jon Jones, he's not walking the straight path. He needs more time. Oh, man. What a scenario. All right. Moving on here, let's listen to some tunes. We'll take a brief break. We're going to listen to a little Wet Leg. And we will be back. Check this song out by Wet Leg. Here we go. Being in Love.
Down, only just got up. I feel so uninspired. I feel like giving up. I feel like someone has punched me in the guts. But I kinda like it 'cause it feels like being in love.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Short break, but we're back in action. The United States dropping fucking bombs on Iran, knocking out a bunch of nuclear facilities. Before this all went down, you had a Tucker Carlson interview with Ted Cruz that went viral. It was insane. Some of the things that Ted Cruz was saying, I just couldn't believe that they had this guy on. I can't believe that he agreed to go on. He got absolutely annihilated by Tucker Carlson. Exposed a lot of things from what I saw. Let's bring this interview up here, and I'll kind of hit on the main points of this interview. Obviously, the viral points as well. But we have Tucker Carlson asking the hard-hitting questions to Ted Cruz. Do we pay Mossad to spy on us? We give Israel tons of money and support. And Cruz doesn't really deny the fact that Mossad could be spying on the United States as well. I thought that this was very interesting. Let me see. It's about 29:32 into the interview. 29:32. Let's check it out. There we go. 29:35. There we go. Let's start here. 29:17 sounds good. Let's go.
Can you elaborate? And again, I'm going into this as someone who's always liked Israel and still does. But I also think at this point, given where we are, it's fair to ask.
By the way, I would never, ever, ever do anything on camera if I had one of these things on my lip here. I would never, ever do anything on camera if I had a herpy on my lip, first of all.
Questions about what the benefits are.
Good.
So does Mossad share all of its intelligence with us?
Oh, probably not, but they share a lot.
We don't share all of our intelligence with them, but we share a lot. It's a close alliance.
Do they spy domestically in the United States?
Oh, they probably do, and we do as well. And friends and allies spy on it.
What the fuck? Strange. They probably do. They probably spy on us.
And I assume all of our allies spy on us.
And that's okay with you?
You know what? One of the things about being a conservative is that you're not naive and utopian. You don't think humans are all... Part of the reason socialism doesn't work is the mantra from each according to his abilities to each according to his needs doesn't work. As a conservative, I assume people act in their rational self-interest.
So it's conservative to pay people to spy on you?
It's conservative to recognize that human beings act in their own self-interest, and every one of our friends spies on us, and I'm not...
Do you like it? That's my question. I'm not asking whether they have...
You like that shit, though? You like it, though?
They do it, of course they do. I understand that, and
by the way,
I'm not mad at them. But you're an American lawmaker, so I just want to know. Hold on, I want to know your attitude. Yeah. You said that your guiding principle, in fact, the only principle, the only criterion.
I said guiding, the overwhelming. I wouldn't say only.
Is it in America's interest? Is it in America's interest for Israel to spy on us, including on the president?
It is in America's interest to be closely allied with Israel because we get huge benefits for it. And you want to see the clearest...
But I just want to stop on the spying for a second. That it takes place, as you know, and including on the president of the United States and several precedents. And I just want to know if that's okay and why is it okay? Wouldn't an American lawmaker say to a client state, you're not allowed to spy on us? I'm sorry. I know why you want to. I'm not mad at you, but you're not allowed to.
Sure.
And I don't care for it. I don't want to be spied on by you. Is that... It's kind of weird not to say that, but you don't seem able to say that.
Sure, I would say don't spy on us. They're going to anyway. And by the way, the Brits are, the Canadians are. Like, I don't think...
Well, I'm not for that at all. Okay. I think it's disgusting. But we don't actually pay their... You know, we're not their most meaningful sponsor. We're not sort of paying for the operations of the British government.
So I got to say, and this is... It's weird. We're talking about isolationists, the obsession with Israel. Why is Israel...
Oh, I don't think I'm obsessed with Israel.
Okay, but I think a lot of people are. And like the question, Israel spies on us. Well, so does every other country. Why are you mad at Israel?
I guess... Oh, no. I'm just...
And to clarify, he's asking the question because we're giving Israel tons of money. So he just sees a little bit of conflict there. And Ted Cruz is taking a lot of offense to that. But I think we should be taking offense to that. I think anybody should be taking offense.
Hardly the one who's... I've never taken money from the Israel lobby. Have you?
Taken money from the Israel...
From AIPAC.
So AIPAC raises a lot of money for me, but it's actually a misnomer because the people...
So right there, AIPAC raises a lot of money from me. That's interesting.
People who raise money are individuals. Right. So it's not the PAC itself, but they're individual members who believe in the American-Israeli friendship and relationship.
Is AIPAC a foreign lobby?
No, it's an American lobby. It's the AIPAC stands for the America-Israeli Political Action Committee.
Yeah, like Tucker doesn't know what AIPAC stands for. He knows what AIPAC stands for, dude. But it is clearly lobbying interests here.
Lobby for.
So, to be honest, not a whole lot effectively. Listen, I came in...
So then admits that it's not effective, but yet here we are still taking money and shelling out tons of money.
Congress 13 years ago,
yes,
with the stated intention of being the leading defender of Israel in the United States Senate.
Great.
And I've worked every day to do that. AIPAC, a lot of times, AIPAC, I wish were much more effective. Like, there are folks online who are in the fever swamp of terrified of AIPAC, and AIPAC...
I'm not terrified of AIPAC at all. You're the one who seems a little uncomfortable when I'm asking.
No, not uncomfortable at all.
I'm just asking what AIPAC does. My understanding, having known a lot of people who work at AIPAC, is that it lobbies on behalf of the Israeli government.
Wrong.
Oh, okay.
America has thousands of colleges and universities.
Okay, so there's an ad from Tucker. Course, can't get away from these ads. They're getting paid tons of money. But Cruz says AIPAC's not very effective, but I take money from them anyway, which is he's telling on himself. And then he doesn't realize that AIPAC is lobbying for the interest of Israel. He doesn't seem to understand that. So let's go to 120 here. And this is talking about killing bad guys.
People are bad. These people are...
I'm not speaking entirely in moral terms.
Yeah,
I'm not interested in killing bad guys. I'm interested in killing people who are trying to kill us.
If we had...
That's different. I'm not engaged in morality.
Are you now? Because you told me that the government of Iran is presently trying to assassinate Donald Trump. And then you
that
said...
is undisputed. There's literally nobody who disputes that fact.
Then why...
Okay, so he's saying that that is an undisputed fact that Iran is trying to assassinate Donald Trump. And to be honest with you, that's the first time I've heard this. Now, I'm not balls deep in politics, but that's the first time I've ever heard that, where the president is the president is at risk of being assassinated by Iran.
You support military action right now against Iran.
We are engaged in military action right now.
Then why don't you...
And at the time, we have been, it's crazy that Cruz says this at this time, because this is before all the B-2 bombings that just happened in Iran. So it's very confusing when we are riding this wave of saying we're not going to get involved, we're not involved, and Cruz is over here saying we're totally involved.
Why don't you...
And so Tucker laughs it off right there because he's like, hey, watch what you're saying, because we've been telling everybody that we're not involved, and this is the first time I'm hearing this.
Support offensive
right now.
Why don't you... Why don't...
Sorry, let's go back.
We are engaged in military action right now.
We are engaged in military action. Tucker can't believe this.
Why don't you support offensive military action?
We're bombing the crap out of them. Israel is, and we're supporting them. Israel is.
Okay.
So
why shouldn't the U.S. military...
Again, we are bombing the crap out of them. And then he backtracks. Well, Israel is.
Defend its own president. I don't understand that.
Look, and it goes back to...
Because you don't really believe it's true. That's why.
Everyone... Hey, nobody disputes it, Tucker. Did you also... Did we land on the moon? What other conspiracies do you not believe? Was 9/11 an inside job? I mean, like what?
So what I've asked you the names of these people. I've asked
I don't
you how
know the
you
names
know
of
the
the Iranian
information.
hitmen. I know it because the U.S. military and the intelligence agencies have testified before Congress repeatedly.
And what did they say?
That Iran is trying to murder Donald Trump and has hired hitmen. Do I know the name of the hitmen? No, I'm sorry. And I don't think we do either, because we would apprehend them if we knew their names.
Then why don't you take it seriously enough to support killing the Ayatollah in response to protect our president? But you don't. This doesn't even make any sense. And you're calling me an isolationist.
So Tucker is saying, so if the president is at risk of being assassinated by Iran, why aren't you supporting strikes right now? Why aren't we going in there right now and killing the Ayatollah?
If I believed that was true, I would support military action against the government of Iran.
Okay, that's interesting, because there is literally...
You can't kill our president.
All right, out of 535 members of Congress, I am not aware of one who disputes that Iran is trying to murder Donald J. Trump. That's not even the looniest Democrat doesn't dispute that. So I don't... You're saying if you believed what is, I think, a fact that they are trying to...
You think it's a fact?
Yes.
What is the fact exactly?
That they've hired hitmen.
In the United States?
Yes.
Americans?
Yeah, he's not in Iran, so they haven't hired hitmen.
No, but
in
are
Iran.
they the hitmen American?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'm telling you what, and by the way, I'm not the CIA. I'm not the Department of Defense. I'm telling you what they have told us.
I'm not disputing it. I'm merely saying
we are.
That I'm not. I'm saying the logic train has a massive hole in it. If you believe that's true, then you should, by definition, support killing the people trying to kill our president. But you don't support that.
Now, Tucker,
so I'm wondering what's going on here.
Tucker, you took offense to the word isolationist, and I genuinely don't mean it as a pejorative. I disagree with it. But if you don't like that term, I don't know how else to describe what is a coherent foreign policy that says we're surrounded by two giant nations. By the way, isolationism has long been a school of foreign policy.
I believe in self-defense. I'm not,
okay, but
not into the slurs, the anti... I was worried about it. I've seen that.
Well, but that proved not the case.
I was wrong, as I have been many times.
Did you agree with taking out the ISIS caliphate?
Well, if we took out the ISIS caliphate, why are they running Syria right now? And you're for that. Why is that?
What do you mean?
Jeez. I mean, Tucker is absolutely destroying this dude. I can't believe this.
say I'm for that.
You don't seem to have a problem with it.
I didn't say
ISIS
that.
is now running Syria. You're like, we'll see.
No, I did. Look,
I mean, I know why.
But by the way,
I know
I didn't
why
push
you don't
Assad
care.
out. Assad toppled.
It's hilarious.
You
it's
know
like
why I don't
Assad
care?
is bad, but no.
Oh, Tucker's laugh is the most condescending shit ever. It's driving Ted Cruz and I'm sure anybody else that would be in this position. It's driving Ted Cruz fucking crazy. That laugh, dude. That hyena laugh. he laughing in his face, spitting all over his face.
ISIS run Syria, but that's fine. We'll just kind of wait and see on ISIS. Not a big deal.
You know,
not a big
why,
deal. They're trying to kill Trump.
Hold on a second. I want to get back. You know why I don't care, and why, and you do your like trademark smirky laugh. I know why you don't care.
What are you even talking about?
What? Why don't I care?
I don't know why. You tell me. Because you think it's okay because they're not making angry noises or something. But by your own standards, ISIS is so immoral that they must die. But now they're running Syria, and you don't think that we should take military action against the government of Syria because why? They're ISIS.
What I said is I don't know how good or bad it'll be. Look, I wasn't pushing Assad out. He fell. He fell on his own, in part because he was heavily supported by Hezbollah, and when it had fallen, I would use economic sanctions.
Next one. Let me see. 1:30. This is the viral clip that everybody's seeing online here. We'll take a look.
And I would use moral suasion to try to effectuate
if you
regime
topple,
change.
okay, so you topple the regime by whatever means. What happens then? How many people live in Iran, by the way?
I don't know the population.
At all?
Doesn't know the population. Which is shocking, to say the least, but he might be nervous.
No, I don't know the population.
You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple?
How many people live in Iran?
92 million.
Okay. Yeah.
How could you not know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay, this is cute.
It's not
okay.
even... You don't know anything about Iran. So
okay,
actually,
I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
don't know anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the
I'm
one
not saying that.
who can't figure out if it
saying
was a good
you
idea to
don't
kill
believe-
General Soleimani, and you said it was
don't
bad.
believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if
Okay,
you really
we
believe
are
that...
carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, this...
Breaking news at this time. Now we know that to be true. Tucker is astonished at this statement.
Breaking news here because the U.S. government last...
Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are.
Dude, this guy is getting thrashed. This guy is a liability to national security. Just admitting on this huge platform.
This is high stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Okay, we are not bombing them.
Oh, okay.
Israel is bombing them. And hey, why do you do the snide? Oh, okay.
What do you mean? Because this is super high stakes stuff. This is a huge country that borders a lot of other important countries. A lot of the world's energy comes from there.
So
let me
ask
you don't want another disaster. You don't want to be
Tucker,
reckless.
the Ayatollah refers to Israel as the little Satan and America as the great Satan. Do you believe him when he says it's the great Satan?
Of course I believe him.
Do you think if the Ayatollah could murder both of us right now that he would? I do. I believe him.
Okay, I assume no good faith on the part of the Ayatollah.
No, not
and
good
if your
faith.
implication
No,
is like
it's not
I'm
good
pro-Ayatollah or
faith.
something.
No, it's not good faith. It's that
just saying you're a lawmaker. You're a powerful person in Washington. This is the most powerful country in the world. If you're calling for toppling in government, it's incumbent on you to know something about the country and to think through the consequences of that. And you haven't, and you don't. And I'm saying...
Ladies and gentlemen, Ted Cruz just getting spit roasted on the Tucker Carlson show here. And as you know, since this interview has went live, we are we had a whole operation that happened. Operation Destroy the Bungalows. The United States has conducted military operations in Iran and destroyed a bunch of nuclear facilities underground with the GBU-157, the Penetrator, the Ass Jammer 4000. And now we're going to see what happens. What does this look like? I mean, we got a bunch of bases in the Middle East. You got, you got Qatar. Beautiful, beautiful place. Love me some Qatar. And we're going to see how this whole thing plays out. We're going to see if Iran responds with military action on these bases. We got a bunch of people being evacuated. And so, or that have been evacuated. And we're going to see how this thing progresses. They're talking about sleeper cells in the United States. They're going to come out the woodwork. That's another threat. Everybody's on high alert. President Donald Trump at risk of being assassinated again. There's a lot of stuff going on, man. A lot of stuff going on. And, I knew it was going to get to this point just because of the language that Donald Trump uses. He uses a lot of language. Victory, surrender. If we weren't in a war already and you're using war words, we're there. Trump's been using the war words for the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So if this comes as some kind of surprise, it's definitely not a surprise at this point. And we're just going to see how all of this plays out. And I'm not sure what it looks like. I mean, I've been obsessed with it lately. I've been looking what's going to happen. I mean, the worst thing that could happen is nuclear warfare, which destroys the entire world. Go look up the lady that talks about the nuclear scenarios on the Sean Ryan show. She was on the Joe Rogan show. Sean Ryan gets all of Joe Rogan's sloppy seconds, if you haven't noticed. Joe Rogan has people on a year ago. Sean Ryan will have them on. And she talks about the effects of nuclear warfare. It's absolutely insane. The whole world dies, essentially, if these guys start firing nukes off at each other. And we're going to see how this whole thing plays out, man. Everybody be on high alert. We're going to end the show here with, let me see. I think we should play a song. Let me think here. There is a new Psycho Frame song that just dropped. We're going to check this out and we're going to get going. But this new Psycho Frame song came out just recently and it's called, gosh, I can't even think of the name here. Psycho Frame. Here we go. The Portal. Straight deathcore for your asses. This song is called Blueprints for Idle Genocide. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up. Psycho Frame just dropped. Let's check it out. You guys have a great night. We're going to end the show. I hope everybody loved it. We'll see you next time. Ladies and gentlemen, the Show No Mercy Show, Bodega Joe.